Friends, welcome to this daily devotion for Wednesday, December 22, 2021. I'm Pastor Mark. Along with Pastor Wesley, we serve the United Methodist Church of New Lenox and welcome you to this time where we can grow in love of God and neighbor. Take a deep breath, breathing in the goodness of God, the great gifts of peace, hope, joy, and love. Breathing out all the worries of this holiday season. Friends, Christmas comes regardless of your preparation. Enjoy it and look for what Christmastide may mean for you. Our theme this week is God clothed in human flesh. So hear the affirmation and our petition. Do not be afraid, for see, I am bringing you good news of great joy for all people. To you is born this day in the city of David a Savior, who is the Messiah, the Lord. Luke 2:10 and 11. Make us worthy, Lord, to serve you and all the world's people who live and die in loneliness, hunger, poverty, and sickness. Give them through my hands this day their daily bread, and by our love give them peace and joy. Amen. Our sacred reading today comes from God Came Near by Max Lucado. He looks like anything but a king. His face is prunish and red. His cry, though strong and healthy, is still helpless and piercing, the cry of a baby. And he is absolutely dependent on Mary for his well-being, majesty in the midst of the mundane, holiness in the filth of sheep manure and sweat, divinity entering the world on the floor of a stable, through the womb of a teenager, in the presence of a carpenter. She touches the face of the infant God. How long was your journey? This baby had overlooked the universe. These rags keeping him warm were the robes of eternity. His golden throne room had been abandoned in favor of a dirty sheep pen, and worshiping angels had been replaced with a kind of bewildered shepherds. Meanwhile, the city hums. The merchants are unaware that God has visited their planet. The innkeeper would never believe that he had just sent God into the cold, and the people would scoff at anyone who told them the Messiah lay in the arms of a teenager on the outskirts of their village. They were all too busy to consider the possibility. Those who missed His Majesty's arrival that night missed it not because of evil acts or malice. No. They missed it because they simply weren't looking. Little has changed in the last 2,000 years, has it? Powerful words by Max Lucado. This Christmas tide, this Advent, the season preparing us for the coming of Christ, this Christmas tide, the celebration of Christ coming into this world. Are you looking? I truly believe, if you've seen that picture, it's in a lot of churches, Christ at the door, knocking. Beautiful picture. Very, very famous and very common in churches and homes even. I believe that picture is a great metaphor, and I mean, Christ talks about it himself, so I mean, it's biblical as well, but I believe it is a great metaphor for God in our lives, God with us, Emmanuel. This idea that Christ is knocking. He's calling, if you want. I mean, let's be honest a second. When people knock at my door, I get a little flustered because it's just not expected these days, right? Someone came over to the house, and I took a little nap, and so I was just completely flustered because you don't expect somebody coming if they're not coming, right? If you don't have them on your schedule. We're not prepared. I wasn't prepared, right? And I thought it was somebody else, but it was somebody else. I was a mess, and I apologize. I must have just seemed like I had, seen a ghost or something. But we're not prepared. We're not listening. We're so busy. And often we're busy not being busy. We are distracted. It's really not so much busyness as distracted. So we don't see God in our midst. We don't hear God knocking. We don't hear God calling yet. I truly believe, friends, God is calling. God was with us 2,000 years ago, and people even face to face with him didn't recognize him. How can you be face to face with God incarnate, God with us, and not see? Well, the answer is simple, because you weren't looking. I find that most people who devote any time and energy to searching for the divine find something. And often they find the divine. Most of us just don't take time. Again, I said this a couple weeks ago. How much time have you prepared for the holiday, for Christmas? Family gatherings, presents, decorating your house. How much time have you, even church stuff, how much time have you put into that? Versus in the same time period, how much time have you set aside to prepare yourself for Christ coming in your life? I imagine one outweighs the other. At least that's my own experience. What would it be like if we spent more of our time preparing for Christ's coming? And I've been trying to do that this year. I feel bad, because I'd be like, it'd be so much, at this point of recording this, the Christmas tree's not even up. It will be up soon, but we're getting close to Christmas. The Christmas tree's not up. I'm not too worried about it. It's going to get up, and it will be there. My house doesn't have lights. I have a little lighted Christmas tree out front, and just simple decorations. But, I think, oh man, it'd be nice to just have lights on the house. And then I think, or I could use that time reading, studying, praying, which I have been doing this season. And is that better? Or shopping, or all that kind of stuff. And we do all that stuff, right? And we make sure we have gifts for people and all that kind of thing. But at the end of the day, those are good, fun things to do, and nothing against. I love Christmas decorations. And if that's something you're passionate about, I think that's okay, and that can bring light and life to people. But again, if it's stressing you out, if the holidays are a burden to you, then are you willing to stop and say, I need some more time to see God? Speaking of that, our reading today comes from John chapter 3. This is a famous story, Jesus and Nicodemus. There was a Pharisee named Nicodemus, a Jewish leader. He came to Jesus at night and said to him, Rabbi, we know that you are a teacher who has come from God, for no one could do these miraculous signs that you do unless God is with him. Jesus answered, I assure you, unless someone is born anew, it's not possible to see God's kingdom. Nicodemus asked, how is it possible for an adult to be born? It's impossible to enter the mother's womb for a second time and be born, isn't it? Jesus answered, I assure you, unless someone is born of water and the Spirit, it's not possible to enter God's kingdom. Whatever is born of the flesh is flesh, and whatever is born of the Spirit is spirit. Don't be surprised that I said to you, you must be born anew. God's Spirit blows wherever it wishes. You hear its sound, but you don't know where it comes from or where it is going. It's the same with everyone who is born of the Spirit. Nicodemus said, how are these things possible? Jesus answered, you are a teacher of Israel and you don't know? I assure you that we speak about what We know and testify about what we have seen, but you don't receive our testimony. If I have told you about earthly things and you don't believe, how will you believe if I tell you about heavenly things? No one has gone up to heaven except the one who came down from heaven, the human one. Just as Moses lifted up a snake in the wilderness, so must the human one be lifted up, so that everyone who believes in him will have eternal life. God so loved the world that he gave his only Son, so that whoever believes in him will not perish but have eternal life. God didn't send his Son into the world to judge the world, but that the world might be saved through him. Whoever believes in him isn't judged, and whoever doesn't believe in him is already judged because they don't believe in the name of God's Son. This is the basis for judgment. The light came into the world, and people love darkness more than the light, for their actions are evil. All who do wicked things hate the light and don't come into the light for fear of their actions will be exposed by the light. Whoever does truth comes to the light so that it can be seen that their actions were done in God. I wanted to read the entirety of that passage because I think John 3:16 is not incomplete without 17, 18, 19, and 20. For God so loved the world. That's the story of Christmas, isn't it? God loved you enough to come down and redeem all the things of your life that aren't redeemable, to save all the things of your life that need saving but don't deserve it, to help complete you who is imperfect to perfection, to mend what's broken, to heal what's sick, to make new your whole body, your whole being, so that you can be a child of God. That's what we should be preparing for. Yes, the celebrations, the presents, the trees, the dinners, getting together with family and friends, those are wonderful, blessed things. Our church services, candlelight services, singing carols, I love all of those things so much. But they're only good if they are ways that are preparing us for something good, something true, for light coming into our world. We move to our time of prayer. Today we offer prayers of intercession, praying for other people. I'll offer a time of silence where you can pray for others and then listen so you might see what God is calling you to do. Let us pray. Lord, this Christmas time there are many who need your love. We especially lift up those who have lost a loved one this last year, those who are alone on this holiday season, those who are in dire need. Allow us to lift their names and also to hear how we might help them, to invite a stranger over, to invite someone who's single or alone or who's lost a loved one to our gatherings, that they might be family in a new way. Let us pray and bring to God those intercessions for those we love. Let us pray the prayer Jesus Christ taught us, saying, Our Father, who art in heaven, hallowed be thy name. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done, on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread, and forgive us our trespasses, as we forgive those who trespass against us. And lead us not into temptation, but deliver us from evil. For thine is the kingdom, and the power, and the glory forever. Friends, until tomorrow I leave you with the God's promise and our response. Prepare the way of the Lord, make his path straight. Every valley shall be filled, every mountain and hill shall be made low, and the crooked shall be made straight, and the rough ways made smooth, and all flesh shall see the salvation of God. Luke 3:4-6. They set out, and there ahead of them went the star that they had seen and its rising, until it stopped over the place where the child was. When they saw that the star had stopped, they were overwhelmed with joy. On entering the house, they saw the child with Mary his mother. They knelt down and paid him homage. Then, opening their treasure chests, they offered him gifts of gold, frankincense, and myrrh. Matthew 2:9-11. Friends, until tomorrow, God bless. Goodbye. Amen.